Hello and welcome to SaltWire Today for Friday, November 18th. I'm Scott Squires, in for Kate Walker. RCMP are identifying the human remains found in Springfield, Nova Scotia last month as those of Barry Albert. They've also deemed the case as a homicide. Albert was reported missing to Lunenburg police in August of 2022. SaltWire's Chris Lambie spoke with the victim's family and has the details.
In this video shot last month, RCMP divers are searching the lake near a ball diamond where Albert's body was found. Barry Albert loved playing baseball, so perhaps it's fitting that the police found the 47-year-old's remains near the Springfield ball diamond. Albert's friends and estranged wife believe he was murdered over the theft of drugs, but they're remembering him as a great dad to his 3 grown sons and an avid baseball player. Luann Albert, his former partner, told me she still loved the man and took him food sometimes, but couldn't handle his drug problem. He'd get off them for a little bit, and he was perfect, she said, but he would always have that addiction. He got hooked on trucker pills as a youngster and later started using methamphetamine regularly and smoking crack cocaine, she said. He didn't have a chance. For the SaltWire Network, I'm Chris Lambie.
The HRM is strengthening ties with its NATO allies. It was announced today that the municipality will soon be host to a new Defense Innovation Accelerator office expected to be operational by 2025. SaltWire's Nicole Monroe has the details.
Halifax Regional Municipality will soon be home to a new NATO Defense Innovation Accelerator office. Several local politicians joined Defense Minister Anita Anand on the Halifax waterfront Friday morning as she made the announcement on the latest development of Defense Innovation Accelerator for the North Atlantic, also known as Diana.
Put simply, Diana will harness the depth of Canadian expertise and help Canada and our allies. And together with our NATO allies, we're going to enhance the strength and resilience of key industrial capabilities, cyber and telecom networks, supply chains, and critical infrastructure.
Anand said her office put Halifax forward as the preferred site after Canada was selected by NATO to host the Innovation Accelerator office. The exact location for the office has not been determined, but it is expected to be fully operational by 2025. In Halifax for the SaltWire Network, I'm Nicole Monroe.
One person is believed to be in life-threatening condition after being hit by a car in Halifax last night. Police say around 6 p.m. they were called to a vehicle pedestrian collision in the 6500 block area of Bears Road. A 33-year-old man who was crossing Bears Road between Connolly Street and Connaught Avenue was struck by a westbound vehicle. Police say the man was transported to hospital with what they are believed to be life-threatening injuries. Many refugees who land in Halifax come with hope for a better life and a better living situation than in their native countries. But for many, when they arrive, barriers get in the way of finding a place to call home. The Refugee Clinic has around 300 clients and has been providing legal and settlement services for refugee claimants, people who arrive in Canada and then apply for their refugee status.
As they await work permits, they're on income assistance, which the rates are not high enough to be able to find housing. They have to deal with an extremely competitive market, which they're not, they're not able to face, and they're being denied funding that would help them get out of temporary housing and into permanent housing.
Lena Hamid says the housing market affects many Nova Scotians, but it disproportionately affects refugee claimants who often don't have references or who face language barriers and racism.
We would love to see Housing Nova Scotia approve people for their rental subsidies. That would make a huge difference in their lives. It would be literally life-changing. And you know, if you want to think about it in housing's good for the province will save money, so you won't have to pay for hotels anymore if you just approve them for subsidies.
SaltWire requested an interview with refugee claimants, but they were concerned media attention would hinder their efforts to find housing. Next to some local maritime talent. 10-year-old Morgan Saunders of Charlottetown will be starring in a Christmas movie that airs on US and Canadian television next month. The child actor took some time to chat with SaltWire's Dave Stewart to tell him more about 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
Meet 10-year-old actor Morgan Saunders of Charlottetown, who will star in a television movie in the United States and Canada in December. Morgan filmed her first TV commercial a couple of years ago and has made a total of 5 since then. She has also done 2 TV shows, Aw Shucks, and is in the 2nd season of Community Players. Morgan says she loves it. Started auditioning for roles in television and movies, landing a role in the upcoming holiday film, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Morgan says she likes everything about acting, especially the chance to throw herself into a character. She says memorizing lines is among the biggest challenges.
Being out of your comfort zone, I find that a bit harder. And I also find it hard to just kind of get used to being away from home.
Her mom, Linda, said she knew from the time Morgan was 4 years old that the youngster had a love of the camera. Linda says Morgan works extremely hard.
Trains every week, auditions at least, every week, sometimes 4 times a week. And there are many no's along the way. And people don't like to talk about that, but there are many no's, and you get used to rejection at a young age. And it's not really rejection. I think of it as I tell her that wasn't the right role for you.
Her mom said whenever Morgan finishes an audition or lands a role, they have a traditional happy dance they do to keep it all as fun as possible. The movie 'Twas the Night Before Christmas airs in Canada on the W Network, Stack TV, and the Global TV app. It also airs in the U.S. on the Hallmark Channel on December 17th. Reporting in Charlottetown for the SaltWire Network, I'm Dave Stewart.
And to get you in the holiday spirit, Santa Claus is coming to town this weekend. The 27th annual SaltWire Holiday Parade of Lights kicks off tomorrow night with Mrs. Claus making her first parade appearance as this year's honorary parade marshal. It's important to note that due to the construction of the Cogswell Exchange, tomorrow night's route has been modified. Instead of kicking things off from its usual spot, the Halifax Dockyards, the parade will start at 6 p.m. from Duke Street. From there, it will head along Barrington Street to Spring Garden Road, to South Park Street, to Morris Street, and then to University Avenue, where it will wrap things up at the intersection of University Avenue and Roby Street. Any children who haven't mailed their letter to Santa yet can do so at the parade, as a Canada Post team will be collecting letters along the parade route. Volunteers will also be collecting non-perishable food donations and cash for Feed Nova Scotia. And speaking of the SaltWire Holiday Parade of Lights, our resident foodie and sommelier Mark DeWolf has a special wine of the week for your weekend plans. He paired up with Nick Jennery from Feed Nova Scotia and Matt Rogers of Bishop Cellar for this week's recommendation.
Well, I'm actually going to recommend a case, not just a single wine this week. So I just had the pleasure of interviewing Nick Jennery, Executive Director of Feed Nova Scotia, Matt Rogers, President of Bishop Cellar. You can find that interview on saltwire.com. And we talked about their Case for Compassion program, which is a great case of wine put together by Bishop Cellar that supports families in need in Nova Scotia, and particularly families in need of food. And they do it through Feed Nova Scotia. In the box, you can get either all Pinot Grigio, nice, fresh, easy, a Malbec from Argentina, which is juicy and easy to drink. Or if you want to spend a little more money and donate some more to Feed Nova Scotia, get their premium pack, which is, I think, about $325 for a case of wine, which $75 goes to Feed Nova Scotia. Kind of a big, rich California cab that's juicy and drinkable, and a real classic New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. So this week, don't buy a wine, buy a case.
You can watch Mark's full interview on the Wine and Dine section of saltwire.com. It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with Dwayne Winter on the 4th Annual Black Men's Conference.
Also looking here at the agenda, including mental wellness, confronting trauma, ending gun violence, uniting persons of African ancestry. There's a lot of heavy topics there.
Yeah, very much so.
And how do you address that? Like, are there specific people to speak to these particular issues, or is it a general conversation? I'm curious how that's going to look on Saturday.
So the topics that we have chosen is 13 topics, and these are individuals who are very familiar with these topics and very passionate. So they're able to really bring out the crowd to talk and express themselves and learn from these topics, and just take something home that, okay, this is what I learned today. I want to take it home and I want to actually do something with it now.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of SaltWire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire. A huge day of football in Antigonish tomorrow as the Hardy Cup champion Saskatchewan Huskies take on the Loney Bowl champs, the St. Francis Xavier X-Men, in the UTEC Bowl. Saskatchewan defeated UBC 23-8 in the Hardy Cup, while St. FX won their second straight Loney Bowl, defeating the Mount Allison Mounties 21-14. SaltWire weather specialist Alistair Alders says it should be a good day for football tomorrow, with temperatures around 4 degrees Celsius with a mix of sun and cloud. The winner of tomorrow's UTEC Bowl will play for the Vanier Cup National University Football Championship on Saturday, October 26th in London, Ontario. On to weather now. To see what's coming up in the forecast, we're going to check in with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders. Alistair?
Happy Friday, Scott. Well, the weekend is here with a mixed picture, some sunshine in the forecast, but also some wet weather to talk about too. This evening it will be partly cloudy and a weak disturbance will pass to our south, so that means we will have a chance of showers and maybe even wet flurries. Now, the temperature in the city will be near +1, but I do think we'll get a bit cooler inland. As we wake up on our Saturday morning, we'll have a mix of sun and cloud, and starting the day near the freezing mark, into the afternoon, a mix of sun and cloud with a temperature near 5 degrees. Now, some modeling has more sun than clouds in the afternoon, so fingers crossed for that. But if you're heading out to the SaltWire Holiday Parade of Lights on Saturday evening, we're looking at partly cloudy skies and an isolated chance of a flurry and maybe a shower. A very low chance. It would be very isolated, not a washout by any means. It's looking pretty good overall, and the temperature will be near 2 degrees. Now, another weather system will move in on Sunday. A low-pressure system will develop near New Brunswick and then move into the Gulf of St. Lawrence. It's not a significant system for us, likely bringing some rain showers. There could be some wet snow mixing in with this one too, but not for us here in Halifax. Other parts of the province maybe. The temperature will climb up to 6 degrees. No significant precipitation, but as that low continues to develop and moves off towards the north, we will have some very gusty winds as we go Sunday night into Monday, so keep that in mind as I look towards next week. Right now, breezy conditions at times, but looking brighter overall. Have a great weekend. Scott.
Thanks, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com, and you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at SaltWire Today, also on YouTube. I'm Scott Squires. Thank you for spending some time with us on SaltWire today. If you're heading to the SaltWire Holiday Parade of Lights tomorrow evening, be safe and have fun. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.